once I started getting more knowledgeable on Yiddishkeit, I started asking myself, like, constantly, what do you want to do? Why are you learning? Like, where's this going? Why are you doing this? Like, you don't really have a purpose on doing it, like learning anything. Like, whoa,
what's the end game? Yeah,
right. And I was like, I'm just curious. So it led to another thing, and I used to hear Shidim, and I was so intrigued, like, and I had a feeling, something warm, like almost like belonging, like I belonged there, like my being was treading in the right direction. And so I reached out to a rabbi in Borough Park, and he told me, look for the nearest Chabad house, speak to the rabbi, and if he wants to teach you, I'll guide you. Okay. Go back on Chabad.com, put in my zip code. Ends up being that behind my house, 2 blocks down, there was a Chabad house. Look at the stories are about to begin.
This is not exactly in Yehupitzville. This is.
I called the Chabad house, and the rabbi said, okay, fine. Meet me tomorrow on 770. I told him what time. He says 7:00.
Oh. Said, okay. He would have said 770 if it existed at that time. I'm just saying. Surprised he didn't say like 810 or something.
So I woke up 7:00. My mother asked me, where are you going? I told her I need to go to school early. Then there was like regents, whatever. I was like, they're making a pre-class for regents. I wanted to go. So this was I get there and I see a guy standing on the corner, gingy beard, almost like orange. And I'm like, I know this guy from somewhere. Ends up being that this rabbi from the Ridgewood community used to go to a barber shop that is owned by Russian Jews who are not religious. And I happened to be there once with my brother. They were my barbers. Guy walks in. And I was...
Blowing the shofar.
Blowing the shofar. I was sitting there with my brother, and we were covering our faces because it was funny. Like, this guy's coming in, blowing on a piece of stick. Like, what's this guy doing? We're laughing there. And that memory just came back. I asked him, you were at this barbershop? He's like, yeah. He's like, those, and he explained to me the whole story on these Yiddish kinder there. He ended up being my teacher.
Wow.
What you mind saying his name?
His first name is Nochem.
Okay.
His last name is a little bit tricky. Can I check?
You can check. You said orange beard. My name is Menachem. I'm just making sure it wasn't me, you know. Just making
How's
sure.
your shofar blues and skills?
Not so good.
I have him saved as Rabbi Nochem.
That's good enough, Rabbi Nochem. But sure, Menachem Mendel, by the way. It's no way his name was Nachman or anything. Who?
Sarvechev.
Sarvechev.
Yeah.
If you could just turn it down. I just want to... Yeah, perfect. Okay, perfect.
Right.
Okay, so...
Rabbi Nochem.
Rabbi Nochem.
Nochem Sarvechev, yeah.
Gewalt.
So that's like pretty trippy. Like, you were blowing the show from the barbershop, and I want to become Jewish now.
No, this was... So when I saw him then in Crown Heights, this memory was from like a couple of months ago, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly the time, but I remember being there with my brother and him walking in and bluesing the shofar. So I asked him, he was like, yes. So I learned with him every single day, I think about a year. And he was giving feedback to this Ruv who was leading the conversion until it was said and done. And then I was coming home.
From that time where you reached out and sort of made up to meet at 770, you knew already that you were on this journey to Geras?
I to be honest, at the very beginning, like the first 2 weeks, I was still unsure. I wasn't sure because I didn't know what the response of my parents was gonna be, and I was also testing myself a little bit. Like I thought, like, do I see myself living this life in the future? Like, do I really want to do this? And am I able to follow everything? Like, what's the purpose? Why are you doing this? That was my main question. Like, why are you doing this? And the answer to that was that I was looking for something. I was looking for closeness, and I was looking for closeness to God. The question was who, which one, which religion, which path, and I had opportunities to hear out other people, but something just didn't sit right. It was either the story didn't match. I ask a lot of questions. If I ask a question and you push off a response, or something's not answered, or it leaves you with like
So schmeckt nicht.
yeah. And I asked somebody once, Yid from Williamsburg, I asked him a question, and he says, I don't know the answer, but I'm sure there's an answer. You're asking the wrong person. I don't know, but there is an answer. This was for me like, oh, there's answers. So who to ask the question, how to get the answer is the challenge, right? But there's answers. The Torah has the answer to everything. You just need to find the correct person to answer your question. So as I was sort of like self-testing myself, I asked myself all these questions over and over again, every week, every day. Mind you, I was going to study with him from 7 to like 8:30. Then I would rush to high school. Then after that, I would go to work. And then 3, 4 o'clock till 11, that was closing. 12-ish, Yom Tivs, before Yom Tivs, it was till 12, 1. So it took a toll. And I was motivated. That was what surprised me the most. Like, I wanted to go. And we were learning Tanya. Tanya has some elevated stuff. Like, it's not, but I was like, whoa, what's this? Like, I was so fascinated at the different avenues of Kedisha and this and that. And I'm like, where was I till now? Like, and then I decided, I said, I want to do it. So how do I bring up the conversation to my parents?
Yeah.
I get home, I bought online. It wasn't online, actually. It was in a store in Crown Heights, tzitzis. And then I wanted to wear them at night. So I took them out the packaging, and my mother sees it, and she's like, "What's this?" I told her they're tzitzis. She's like, take this out of my house. I don't want to see this. What's this? You start working in a Jewish supermarket, all of a sudden this and this and that. And I was like, I want to wear them. I've been studying. I want to wear them. No, we weren't raised like this, and this isn't our direction. I told her, oh yeah? What's our direction? What's our direction? Tell me what's our direction. Couldn't answer. I thought, exactly. We don't have a direction. We're just floating through life every single day. One day you tell me, pray to God. Who's that God? I don't know. We'll figure it out. I think I figured it out. Mother was hurt. I'm chitziv, like.
You told her that she was a fish lost at sea.
Right. And she didn't say anything, but she grounded me. And that's when I felt like I'm good with my decision.
Why did you feel then you're good with your decision?
Because if I had the guts to take that step and just like speak out like that to my mother, I respect my mother very much.
Right.
it was like a natural instinct for me to defend what I believed in. And I thought, I felt good. I felt good afterwards.
Felt right.
Right. And happens to be that weekend, Shabbos, the rabbi told me, come to my shul, Shabbos. He walks from Crown Heights all the way to Ridgewood, which is like about an hour and a half, 2 hour walk every Shabbos. And he said, come down. We're making a minyan. You could be part of the Shabbos prayers. So I told my mother, I'm going to go Saturday in the morning to the synagogue here. She wasn't having it. You step out of this house, you're out for good. So I told her, okay. She said, I'm telling you right now, you take a foot out of this door, I'm going to spank you, and you're going to remember what my name is. So I questioned her, why are you so upset? You didn't tell me to be something. You didn't tell me to be Christian, Catholic, anything. Why does it bother you? We didn't grow up like this. I told her, my mother's very different from her family. She's the one outcast. I told her, you're different from everybody else. I'm different from everybody else too.
So I'm exactly like you.
Exactly. Didn't answer, but she wasn't having it. So she said, you're going to sit down and that's it. So I said, okay, fine. I sat down. Everybody, weekends, watch TV, football, soccer, whatever, chips, sit down in the living room. I took a pillow and I covered my face. She said, what are you doing? I told her, Shabbos, we don't watch TV. Didn't have what to say. Called my phone. I don't pick up. Shabbos, we don't answer the phone. We don't touch electricity. Sat down like a mensch for the first time in my life I bought a challah, whatever food. I sat down to eat in front of everybody. She was not having it at all. And I did this for a couple of Shabbos. She didn't let me go. And I would cover my face and I would sleep through the whole Shabbos. And during those weeks, I would dive into Hashem and I would ask him to make it easier. Just make it. That it should go easy. She's not going to back down that quickly. Help me that it should work. And nature took its course. As time went by, she became much more sensitive to it, and she saw that I was really changing. And I was doing nothing wrong. I was going to school. I was in honors. I graduated with honors. I was doing everything right. I was working. She didn't have what to hold against me because I was doing the correct thing.
It's not like you were rebelling.
Correct.
Yeah, it's not like it was a bad influence.
Correct. Quite the opposite. My brothers took much more different light to me. Like I was talking to them about different things. I was engaging them in other ways. And then comes Simchas Torah. Simchas Torah was the first Yom Tov that I spent fully. Not fully, I had to make malucha, but
At this point, if you don't mind me asking, at this point, did you had converted or
No,
anything?
not yet.
No.
I was still
in the process.
I was still learning. You have to learn a certain amount of time. So at that time, I was in high school. I was in my 12th grade.
Wow.
And I started going black and white. I started growing my pious. I started putting them behind my ear, and the people around me were just looking at me. The interesting part of that whole experience, they all knew me from school, and I wouldn't say I was a popular kid. I was a well-known person. Like I said, I had the nicest shoes. Every new sneaker release, I had the best Jordans, whatever. So people gravitated towards me. Like I was with the cool guys. So people knew me.
What was your name? What they know you as?
Nelson.
Nelson. Okay.
Yeah. And when this whole change happened, they were a little bit shocked, but they at the same time they were understanding in a weird way. And I actually had a friend. His name was Lamar. Once I started explaining to him a little bit more, I can't touch women. There has to be, I can't physically touch them. I can only, whatever. He used to walk with me through the halls, and he used to see it's natural for people to greet each other. Hey, good morning, a hug and a kiss on the cheek, right? So you'd be like, no, he's Jewish. He can't.
He was your bouncer.
Yeah. He was my-
Very good.
and so I didn't have such a negative experience, right? And I used to talk to them also, and they used to understand me, and they supported me like my friends. And so I was starting with the Levish, slowly. And my mother was seeing it also. And then I decided I wanted to go to Eretz Yisrael. I was 17. It was 17 July, August. I decided I wanted to go to Eretz Yisrael to learn. So this was July was when I finished my conversion. So what happened there was, I skipped a chunk. What happened there was the rabbi who was guiding me, his name was Avrum Reich. He put together the Beis Din. He checked on my progress, and he was happy with it. So we started with the bris. I got a circumcision. Then you have to heal.
At 17.
Yeah. Technically, that's a problem because they're not allowed to, only 18, but I pushed them very much. Then I had to heal, and then I went tefillah. And I remember walking into the water. It was, I don't know if it was just me. The water felt like it was 200 degrees.
Wow.
Boiling hot. It wasn't, I know what mikvah is,
A Hassidic mikvah?
It was boiling. Like I felt like boiling. It was burning my skin. And it wasn't that hot because afterwards I put my hand back inside and it wasn't hot. Walking in, it was boiling hot. And I was like thinking like, this is it. Like you can't back out. If you're going forward, you're going forward. If you can't, stop right now. And I said, no, I'm going to keep walking. And I went down the steps and then I was toiled.
The Chazal say that Ger gets the neshama in the emergence from the mikvah. So
Correct.
the person goes in without a neshama, and that's how you're illustrating.
Right.
And in there,
that's how I felt.
Yeah.
At that moment. That's what I felt. The sensation from the water was boiling hot.
Wow.
I know that to be in a mikvah, to be able to be in a mikvah, one needs a neshama.
Yeah.
Gewalt.
Once that happened, the davening was different. The learning was different for the first week. And then it started going down.
Really?
Yeah. I used to feel like the first time. So the first mitzvah that I actually did was put on tefillin. The next morning, whatever, davened Shachris in 770. I had a weird thing like in my fingertips. Like I could feel like my body was about to like come out of my fingertips. Like I had a pressure on my fingertips.
I think your tefillin was too tight.
Those are those little pricks. No. And I felt like when I davened, like I felt like I was getting somewhere. And it happened for the first week or so. And then it just went away. Yeah.
So the intensity or and that's not something that you were prepared for or you wanted?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think that's the human condition. When something is new, when something is fresh, it has an incredible hischadshus.
We see it every year, like Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. People walk out of Ne'ilah on a high, and then literally it could be 27 hours later, and it's just like not so much.
Correct. So the people who were mentoring me then, when I spoke to them about this, that's what they told me. They told me, so you're fresh off the oven, you take out a baguette from the oven, it's boiling, you push it down, it's machaya, yeah? You let it sit on the shelf 2 or 3 days, it becomes cold. So, I remember he told me, this is going to be your life struggle. Every single day, you need to be burning hot, not be cold. You see how cold feels, right? It doesn't feel like that. If it was that or it was something else, or it was just my mind, I don't know, but I can only tell you what I felt. And then a lot of things started changing. Like I was going to Yom Tov, to people's houses. People already knew me then. The famous guy that converted in the
And the guy who worked in the grocery who packed the bags and now is a year.
Traded in the Jordans for a Bekisha.
Correct.
Oh, you're taking a stab at a title over there, Bauman?
Yeah. Yeah. Before that, I used to spend I spent Simchas Torah by somebody, one of my friends, in Williamsburg. That's where my crowd was at the beginning. Like, it still is. I'm friends with a lot of people there, but that's where it all started in Williamsburg. And I used to go to people's houses. Some of them were comfortable with me going, even as a non-Jew, but and I remember walking into Shiel, Simchas Torah. South Medrash. I walked in. I was like the white dot on the black sheet. The moment I walked in, 500 people were staring at me.
Oh.
And I ended up buying the seventh akofa there. And I was dancing with the Torah, with the dying of the Besmedrash. I remember it was like something, it was just like a feeling that I had inside. It was a very good feeling. And these were all things that like validated what I was doing. Like, it wasn't the fact that I bought something. It wasn't the fact that I was dancing. It was just a genuine, like, I felt happy. Like, I felt in place. The whole process wasn't that complicated. The learning for me wasn't a schlep. The switching from eating non-kosher food to eating kosher food, it wasn't a schlep. Like, it just happened like this.
Wow.
There was no.
It wasn't difficult for you?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Okay.
It was just like I felt like I was coming home.
You were no longer a fish lost at sea.
Right.
You were a piece of herring at Kiddush. Exactly where it's supposed to be.
Hey, Bauman, you know how they make fish into herring, right? Did you feel, I guess when you're in that Satmar-based measures dancing with the Torah, the seven akafa, did you feel like you belonged?
You're asking the crowd?
I'm asking you because you had mentioned that you were like the black dot on a white sheet.
Because I'm walking into a place where you only see pies, beketches, shtramel, these type of kapeliches. So I felt different, but I didn't care. That's one of it's one of the things that I had to learn very quickly, is not care what people perceive of me.
I bet, yeah.
And I don't pay attention to it till this day. I'm focused on what my purpose here in the world is. What I understand it to be. It could change tomorrow, but today, what I see.
My wife likes the expression, what people say and think about you is none of your business.
Right. If I were to have listened to every single person who said something, I had from people saying, why do you have to convert? You could have your young years, have fun, go out, party, enjoy. Once everything, then you convert. Why do you have to do it now? Go to college, learn, get a successful job. You're going to be successful. You're going to be able to find a good shidduch. You're going to be able to have panusa. You're not going to be dependent on everybody. Nebuch, all the Gaidim and all the Balchivas, they live off this and that. If I were to listen to every single person that said something, I wouldn't be where I'm standing today. I'd be doing something different every month. The reason why I wanted to leave to Eretz Yisrael was because I felt I felt that I wanted to learn Yiddishkeit. So once I was already fully Magayer, I was at a very, very low level of Yiddishkeit. Yeah, you study and you learn, but it's different when you're actually living it. So I started learning whatever I could. After my day, I had school, work, whatever. End of the day, you're zapped with, you don't have any energy to learn, whatever. So I would get pieces and bits here and there. And I felt it wasn't enough. And life led me to decide that I needed to go to Eretz Yisrael, to go into yeshiva, and I had to learn full time. So I started getting information on yeshivas, and I ended up coming across a yeshiva in Yerushalayim. It's called Torah V'Minna. It's under the guidance of Bells, Yerushalayim. And I called over there, like a cheat or whatever, spoke to him. He has a slot for me. So I'm ready to fly to Israel. Only problem is I'm 17. I'm just Megayir. My mother doesn't give me.
She didn't let you leave the country.
She didn't let me wear tzitzit. You think she?
She's still at this point. You converted. She didn't come around to it.
She knew what was happening, but maybe she thought it was like a phase or something.
Right.
You know, like okay, let him do it. And so once I decided to go to Tzisru, that ended up happening. I come to her and I tell her that I need her to sign up permission that she didn't want. Ended up being that I schlepped it till my birthday, my 18th birthday. Then I'm able to fly by myself. So I told her, you know what, I'm going to go, whether you like it or not. And I got up and I flew. I went to Tzisru. I left my job. Mind you, the day that I flew to Tzisru, I got a call from a big university offering me a full ride scholarship to their college. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to decline. She said, why? You know who we are? I said, yes, I know, but I'm flying to Israel tomorrow, and I'm not interested. She said, what university in Israel is better than us? It's not a university.
Torah v'emunah.
So I get there, and yeah, that's where the new phase of Mayor Weiss. That was the beginning of.
How did you? I guess either you choose the name Mayor Weiss. How did the name Mayor Weiss come to be?
It happened by the bris.
By the breast.
I was contemplating different names. So, like I mentioned, like you asked me before, what my name was.
Yeah.
So my name was Nelson. So everybody in the grocery, anyways, called me Newson. Newson. So Newson was one of the names. But I always had something from Meyer. Meyer is or, like a light. And I remember reading somewhere then, like, guide him, bring light to the world. The world is dark, God brings light. So it ended up.
And the Weiss?
The Weiss, Vass. Yiddish Vass is white. Clean slate, nothing behind me.
Very good.
Wow.
Clean.